All right, so welcome back to this week's market preview. So quickly run through what happened last week, and then we review what to expect in the coming week. All right, so last week we had an ATR bust, which is defined by our um, candle closing outside of our range, right? Since this close to the upside, we were expecting to see a sell, all right, happen this week. Unfortunately, we started anticipating it from Tuesday, Wednesday. Basically, didn't happen, and we were hitting our and we hit a maximum loss, and we basically had to stop for the week. So those are the things you should incorporate into your trading. There was a time when I didn't have this, and I could basically go on an extended losing spree within a week, and then you are losing all the profits you've made for weeks in 1 week, right? So you need to have that maximum loss threshold. So basically, it had to stop. Of course, eventually on Thursday, the reversal basically kicked into effect. But by then, we are basically out of the markets. Not something I regret by any stretch, right? So, running into what to expect for this week, again, we had another ATR bust. So, price pushed strongly Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, um, Thursday as well to the upside, and we ended up also closing outside the range. So basically, this week we have another ATR bust. Now, the interesting thing about all this push to the upside is that our volume trend on the USD remains bearish, right? Our volume trend remains bearish. So that tells us they've had several opportunities to actually change it. But right when it looks like it's about to change, very close to the end of the day, you will see this huge volume come into the marketplace, push it all the way down, stop it from flipping bullish. So I still believe the big guys are still building in positions. And I guess if they've not started that move, I'm hoping that they've not started the move because that would mean that the move is starting without me. Of course, if you have the trend engine, you would have been able to have caught part of this move right from here downward. But I'm still hoping we'll have a situation where we come back. So let's go to our H4 on the USD basket. All right, so we had this fractal high created here. And before I left, had to step out of the house. And before I left, so price was somewhere here. I was hoping we'll just have this as a retracement, then come back tomorrow, take this out, and then give us a reason to sell. But price has just dropped all the way from here downward. So basically, what we are going to be waiting for is a situation where price pushes back, takes out this fractal high, and then gives us a reason to sell, right? So that is basically what we are looking out for the week. Now, in as much as we are looking out for this, the fractal OF still remains bullish, right? Our fractal OF still remains bullish. So that means that by Thursday, um, we could also start looking for opportunities to buy the USD, right? If it is at the low of the week, if the USD is at the low of the week, when we talk about it being at the low of the week, it means that both the USD basket and the USD futures must all be at the low of the week. They must be creating the low of the week on either Thursday or Friday. Then we could be looking to ride it back up. Because when we look at I think I've mentioned it here before, that one of the ways to know when they are likely going to change the fractal OF is to look around and see where is the nearest fractal, right? Where is the nearest fractal that they could break and then use it um, as a gauge of how easy it's going to be. So if you look here, the nearest fractal we have, nearest fractal low we have is somewhere here, right? So for them to push this all the way down here to come and break this, it's going to take a whole lot of effort on their part. So they're not likely going to do that. Occasionally, it might happen, but that is extremely rare. So what will likely happen is a situation where either they push down all the way until Thursday, then push up and then come break it, or at the moment the low of today could already become a fractal low. So all they need to do is to stay above it for the next 2 days. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and then come break it on Thursday. That is still very, very possible and might actually just be the scenario that plays out. So I'll be hoping that that is the scenario that plays out, right? And the reason for that is simple. If we see Tuesday basically range, right? They push up a little bit, range a little, and then on Wednesday, maybe come take this out, or on Thursday, take it out. I'll really be hoping for Thursday, take it out, and that's because of the triple swap that usually takes place on Wednesday. If you trade enough in the markets and you observe a lot, one of the things you will see is that on Wednesdays, if you are trying to sell the USD on Wednesdays, especially from like New York upward, two things will happen. Either that there are news that push you, that drive you to your TP, right, and takes you out of the trade, or at least helps you to get to TP1, get out of the trade, and then you're able to carry on from there. Or you will see that as the day goes on, the trade will begin to move against you, right? Because people basically don't want to pay that triple swap. So most people will begin to close out their positions and you might be left hanging. So, but basically, if we're just looking at what to expect initially for the week until Thursday, what we are playing is a situation where this takes this out and then we'll sell. Now, if this also happens on Thursday or Friday, we'll still take the trade. However, the buys of USD, already this fractal low has been created and taken out. So that particular condition is already met. So what we'll be waiting for is Thursday to come around and we want to resume the original fractal trend, right? So there are two things we are waiting for this week. Either price comes up here, takes out this fractal high on H4, and then begins to drop from there, or on Thursday. Now, this one is very, very specific, it's time specific. On Thursday or Friday, price creates the low on the USD basket and the USD futures, and we'll basically ride it up from there. So, of course, if you're new, you should know that whenever we are buying the USD, we are selling EU and GU. That is what we are trying to do. So usually we are getting our entries on the USD baskets, and then we are going to be transferring those entries to EU and GU. In the series that I'll be starting this week on building profitable systems, profitable models, along the line, we're going to touch on how you could do something like that and all. Even though I go into depth on in the FXP course. All right, so that's basically what we are looking at from a price perspective. Now, whenever we have an ATR bust, for those again who might be new to the channel, whenever we have an ATR bust, we basically suspend our intraday models. So we are not looking at our intraday models. So I'm not even going to bother opening it up to look at it because we are not looking at it at all, given the fact that we have an ATR bust week. So let's quickly look at the calendar. All right, so if we look at the calendar from tomorrow, Tuesday, there is CPI coming from the Eurozone. This is really, I've mentioned this severally, it's really a market mover. It almost always comes in line with forecasts. Yeah, before I forget, so last week, the CPI was supposed to come out, and I mentioned that I was expecting it to come in lower than expected, and it came in, which will lead to USD bearishness. It came in line with expectations, still led to USD bearishness, but lacked follow through. Then price basically reversed after a major spark that happened on that Wednesday. So again, we're going to be having CPI from Canada, right? I've mentioned before, if you've watched my previous market previews, that high impact news from Canada also tends to affect the USD, given how close both countries are, both geographically, politically, economically, and otherwise, right? So you want to keep an eye out on that. Then later in the day, we have building permits coming in from the USD. I don't know why that is a red folder because it's not a red folder. in my opinion. All right, then on Wednesday, we are going to be having the inflation rates data coming in from the UK, right? Inflation data from the UK in the morning, something to keep an eye out for. Would that be the propellant for the move? Don't know, right? And then on Thursday, we have our usual jobless claims. So again, market participants are going to be keeping an eye on these guys. Last week, job numbers generated quite a buzz in the market. So this could also do that again. Then USD existing home sales again coming in later in the day. I don't know again why that is a red folder event, because it doesn't usually create that much of a market push like that. Then on Friday, we are going to be having the GFK consumer confidence, and then retail sales coming in from the UK as well. That's going to be moving the pound quite a bit. Then we have PMIs coming in from the Eurozone, France, Germany, and the entire Eurozone, as well as PMIs again from the UK, retail sales data from Canada, and then PMIs from the USD, along with the USD, the US consumer, Michigan consumer sentiment. So it's going to be an interesting one to see, right? It's going to be an interesting one to see. TradingView have started adding data, COT data, right? The COT data nets speculative positions. They've started adding it to the calendar, so you could also see that. Of course, the limitation with that is it's published on Friday and shows you what has happened as of Tuesday. It doesn't show you what is happening in real time, which is what the volume trend tries to do. All right, now for those who are interested in the trend engine, you'll be happy to know that there is a version 2, and that was basically due to people who were talking about the extra cost of running a VPS alongside the EA or for the EA. So with this version, you really don't need a VPS to run it anymore. So that takes away the cost of running a VPS, which of course could be a couple of some dollars, right? Could cost up to like 200, 250 USD per year, or even more depending on which provider you are using. So I'm going to be making a video about that later, right? How it basically works, and I'm going to run a live backtest of how the EA would have performed over the last 1 year, over October till date, because some people have also asked me recently where the USD has continued to push up, whereas we have been bearish. How has the performance looked like? So in that back test, I'm going to bear all so that you could see or what have you. So that's going to be that for this week's market review. Just a reminder, I'm going to be starting a series on how to build profitable models, as well as how to use the V2 or version 2 of the trend engine. So do look out for those videos. And again, if you are new to the channel or if you are yet to subscribe, do subscribe, like the video, share it, comment. That will help the video to reach more people as well. So thank you again for tuning in. If you have followed us this far, have a great trading week.